This is Andrew Hada from Nothing Ventured Media. I want to tell you about all the feature films we've made and how you can see them right now. The last one is a zombie drama about how a pandemic and isolation could drive a group of people mad. When the virus hits, John finds himself alone and scared until he meets Michael, his protector. But when Karina, another survivor, enters the mix, everything that John and Michael knew will be turned on its head. The last one's is a zombie virus movie that's somehow even more relevant today. Plus, it has zombies. Check it out. Borderland is a mexploitation film about living in El Paso. When Sarah finds herself in debt to the cartels, she has until sunrise to find some missing monies with the help of her executioner. Borderland is a true midnight movie and a lot of fun. The documentary Humble Spirits tells the story of the Hahn family, including champion Jennifer Hahn from El Paso, Texas. The entire Hahn family has grown up in the combat sports and has helped shape who they are both in and out of the ring. Humble Spirits, A Family of Fighters, is the perfect documentary for boxing fans of all ages. Finally, The Empty Space, winner of multiple awards, including the Sacramento Horror Film Festival's Best of the Best, is a cosmic horror about Amy Andrews, who's dealing with anxiety and depression after a violent attack that killed her husband. As she tries to find herself, she starts to lose her grasp on reality. Or could it be something much more sinister? The Empty Space is full of twists and turns, with Grace DeWilder of Rue Morgue magazine calling it a powerful film full of excellent performances by practically every cast member. All of Andrew Hada's movies are available to rent or buy on streaming services such as Tubi, Amazon, and many other places. And if that's not enough for you, Hada Films is home to all of our short films. So take a look around and see what you like. Spend your day with Hada Films and Nothing Ventured Media. Now, let's start the bomb squad. What's up, guys? Welcome to the Bomb Squad. I'm your host, Andrew Hada, writer-director. Look, they're there. Check out.
What's
the
up,
movie.
Andrew? Dang, hey.
No, not.
What's up?
I wasn't pointing to you guys, but yes, also with my co-host William Murdoch and Josh Epps.
What up?
Joshua Epps.
Our
Welcome to
boy.
the Bomb Squad, where we cover movies that maybe need a little bit more recognition, or maybe you forgot about them, or maybe they're bad.
Yeah.
But today's
You never
movie
know.
actually was a surprise hit.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like one of those, and this is something that doesn't really happen that much anymore. But it was one of those movies where it stayed in theaters so long that it like eventually, like word of mouth got out, and it kind of
Yeah.
brought more and more money. But yeah,
Continuing the trend of William only picking really big box office successes.
Dude, I didn't know that anyone. I've never talked to anyone else about this movie.
I know. I never even heard of this, and I loved it. So.
Right.
I feel like if you tell people like, "Hey, have you seen Frequency?" a lot of people are gonna say, "Yeah, I love that movie."
Really?
Yes, we're
That's
talking
me
about
now.
the 2000
As of
year.
yesterday.
In the year 2000,
Yeah.
Frequency came out, starring Dennis Quaid, Jim Caviezel, Andre
That's
Braga,
right enough.
the late Andre
Yeah.
Braga,
Yes,
then,
R.I.P.
Yeah, he's so
Noah
good.
Emmerich.
And the lady
Also-
from Lost. She played Juliet in Lost. Whoever, I don't know the actress's
And
name.
baby Michael Cera for 2 minutes.
Yes.
And
Oh, I
it
forgot about
was
that.
Michael Cera in his feature film debut.
Very
So
tiny.
this is
Right.
a tie-in with that new Wes Anderson film.
Yeah, yeah. The
He
frequency of the Phoenician.
He grows up to be annoying. That's what happens to him.
Actually, Michael Cera is
he's pretty cool.
National treasure.
I just
Yeah.
meant
don't
everyone's
take
annoying
Michael
in those
Cera's
Wes
slander.
Anderson movies now.
For sure. For
And I
sure.
say that as his biggest fan.
Too late to
10 years
backtrack
ago.
now, buddy.
It's like making fun of your little brother.
Yeah.
I know.
Sorry he's trying, Josh.
It's just, it's actually weird because Arrested Development was like a year and a half after this. It's like, man, he like went from being a literal child to like.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Oh
It
my
was
gosh.
so
it was only a year and a
soon.
half?
Maybe like 2 or 3 years. I'm probably
Sure.
My point is, he had a real growth spurt because he looks very small in this.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was laughing to
started
myself
in
when I saw him as a kid. I was like,
2003. So literally 3 years later, which I guess when you're a kid, 3 years is a lot.
Yeah,
yeah,
you can't,
it changes a lot
through
from like
puberty.
My niece couldn't
Middle
talk
school to
3
high
years
school.
ago. And
I
now
want to
she's
see
gay.
Boyhood
Yes, that.
starring Michael Cera to compare
Yeah.
the two.
Yeah.
Arrested Frequency.
And then until they get to the Jonah Hill part. But yeah, so William, now that we're actually on topic, why don't you tell us? Why don't you listen into this frequency?
Okay, well, it's a pretty weird plot, so I'll give it my best shot.
Yeah.
So essentially, in 1969, there exists a very happy family where Dennis Quaid is the dad, and he has a son. And Dennis Quaid is a firefighter, and life is good. They watch the Mets games, they chill, and they like to hang out with ham radios and talk to people from around the world. And then there's an aurora in the sky, which somehow connects Dennis Quaid to 1999, where his son is living fatherless in kind of like a not great life as a cop.
Yeah.
And they start having conversations, and his son in the future saves Dennis Quaid from dying, but
Yeah.
then they change the past, and then how they change the past makes the future even worse.
Yeah, they have to keep
Right.
trying to fix
Keep
it.
trying to change the
as
keep the
they,
future.
It's
Yeah,
like that. It's like that Quantum Leap episode where they're trying to save JFK and they can't. And then he's at the end. He's like, "I didn't save JFK." And then like Sam is like, "Oh, but in our timeline, it was Jackie who was killed." And then that's like
yeah,
a twist. Like, "Oh, you did save her." But it's also like, okay, I don't mean to be mean, but like
go for it.
the president is very important. That's all I'm gonna
versus the
say.
first lady.
If you had to save someone,
No
the
offense.
president is gonna take.
If
Even if it's
anything,
me, between
like-
me and the well,
know.
not maybe not right now. JFK.
Certain
What would
president-
make bigger headlines even
Yeah.
today? You know.
Yeah, what's
I
a
don't
bigger
know.
tragedy in the terms
Right.
of history, or what's
Yeah.
more history?
What's a
changing?
bigger deal? What's a bigger
Yeah.
deal?
You know
President or
what's
the
funny
first lady?
about
Not negative or positive.
and I've somehow brought this up multiple times despite
Yeah.
not caring for it on this podcast, but that James Franco time travel show 11/22/63 or whatever
Yeah, where-
is also
Oh,
him
yeah.
saving JFK, and somehow, and he never learns how, it causes the entire like nuclear collapse of society. And it's just
Sure.
like, oh,
You know.
I guess JFK was a psychopath. Who
the only
knows?
thing I like about that show is that there's some it characters in there, and so it's like, yeah, we're trying to
like
save
from-
JFK, but
oh,
don't
right.
forget it is alive.
Oh yeah, because
I
it's
don't even
Stephen
remember that.
King.
Yeah,
I didn't really know much about the It story when I saw that miniseries, so I probably missed all of that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I've never read I've only seen the movies. I've never read.
They
never read
reference
book
like the
yet.
town and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're like,
Okay.
don't worry, an evil clown's still around.
Yeah, they're like, don't
Yeah,
go to
it's not
Derry.
JFK.
But anyway, back to frequency.
Yes.
The frequency starts. Back to the movie we haven't talked about at all. And
So I
yeah,
want to preface. Can I give a little preface real quick, just for my
Yes.
own sake? So I haven't seen this movie since I was a kid, but I used to love this movie. I like rented this movie from Blockbuster. I for sure did not see it
Yeah.
in theaters. And then I owned the DVD, and like,
Dude.
this movie rocked my world. I used to watch this as much as
Yeah.
I watched like Men in Black or something like that.
Yeah.
And so we were gonna get into it, but hearing that you guys thought it was pretty cool, because when I was rewatching it, I was like, am I liking this because of nostalgia or?
Yeah.
No, I love
Actually
it
chill?
now. First
Okay.
viewing, I'm like, this is well, and we should
Yeah.
almost say too, it's very melodramatic in like a fun
Yes.
way.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
literally, like the
It's-
beginning is him like to show what a good fireman he is. He's literally like saving a guy in the New York sewers. And he's literally
Oh, yeah.
outrunning the fireball and like
Well-
dies as it's like
Yeah.
shooting into the
I
He
air.
wanna
rocks,
say
dude. He's
that
so
the
good.
thing about that is that was the big like that fire would have like collapsed New York City because it's
Sure.
so huge, and they even like add CGI to the fire that was already there.
Oh, when it
You
comes
can
out of
tell.
the man.
It would have been
Yeah.
like a
It's like
9/11
2000.
event. So
But yeah,
like
it's like so
No
it,
one
like,
would have
it's
survived any of
exploding
that.
everywhere, and then they're like,
Yeah.
"Time for burgers," and it's like,
He's
no,
so good
you
at this
need to, like,
job. He's
call
so
the
good
city
at firefighting.
manager because
My best
there's
friend's a cat.
structural problems. Yeah,
what I also like too, and this is funny because the movie, this will be very important later, but the very beginning of the movie, as this fire starting, is the guy's just driving. It's like by the way, be on the lookout for the Nightingale serial killer.
It's just one guy.
He's killing women, and we don't like it. And then
Exactly.
then the movie forgets that for about 40 minutes.
And I
long
will,
time.
I will say this movie is like, and I mean this as a compliment, but it's a very movie. Like
Yeah.
it's like the coolest a straight laced dad could be is how Dennis Quaid is portrayed. Like he's got a
Totally.
motorcycle and like a leather jacket, and he's also
Yeah.
like, hey kid, why don't you go get some milk and cookies and we'll have some dessert? Like it's not.
Yes, yes.
There's no like.
I love my
darkness
wife.
to the
I love my
dad.
wife.
Yeah.
And to like show, because they're like, oh, scientists are saying this solar flare is going to be crazy, and like to show this, it's like the sun flare graphics like slapping the earth like a headache medicine commercial, and you're like, yes, it's all in on itself,
Right. And so then it like cuts to the son, and the son's life like couldn't be worse. Like
he's like breaking up with a woman, and she's like
his
getting
girlfriend's
all of her
leaving
stuff
him.
out of his house.
We go from 1969 to 1999. We just like skip forward in time 30 years
30
after we
years.
established his happy family.
Right, and now it's John Sullivan. They kind of tell you right away, but so like his girlfriend's breaking up with him, and then he like gets to the precinct, and Andre Rega's like, "Hey, you're on one again, aren't you?" And it's like,
you bender boy.
Yeah, he's just a mess. But it's also like it's this kind of movie where he's like a kind of a loser drunk, but he's still a really good cop who's like super driven.
You never lose faith in him at all. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not that kind of movie.
Yeah.
He's just damaged.
Well, and then his best friend Gordo, who's like he knew him since he's a kid. He's like, "Hey, I found this old ham radio that your dad owned. Let's turn it on." And then they're like, "Okay," and so they turn it on.
Yeah, nothing really happens. Michael Cera is the son of Gordo.
Come on, Dad, can we do it?
The one scene he's in, but
in his least awkward role.
I know he's
That's
precocious.
He's just a normal kid.
Yeah. Also, that like Wes Anderson and Michael Cera like shook hands because they're like, "We're gonna work together again at Cannes." It's like that's weird. It's a weird thing to do.
Right.
Seems like they're not gonna work together. Like that worked in the opposite, and I don't believe it.
Right. It's like, what is this? You're squashing the beef that I didn't know existed
right.
till now.
Scott Pilgrim 2, directed by Wes Anderson.
I know. So like that, the fog or whatever, the lightning thing, it connects them. And
The
so now they're like,
sunspots.
they talk
Aurora.
on the CB radio, and they're like, "Hey, what's going on?"
Yeah, he's like,
you
John.
sound familiar.
My son's name is John. And it's very like,
How can two people be named John? This is insane.
Right. It's a very uncommon name.
And the
but
first,
what do you think about the Amazing Mets?
The first time, and this is actually, baseball is a huge through line in this movie because they're all from Long Island.
It's how everything's proven by baseball.
Because in the past, he's bringing up, he's like, oh man, can you believe, I don't know baseball, but whatever famous World Series games happening for the Mets in 1969, like Game 1.
Yeah.
And then Jim Caviezel, like off his dome, because he loves baseball, just like throws out like 3 things crazy that happened in that game.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, right, buddy. I'll talk to you later.
Right.
And then they all happen.
Which is funny because it kind of solves the question we had yesterday about Sound of My Voice. Or not yesterday, but when we recorded that episode. We record these every day, guys. That's how hard we work for you guys.
Yeah, so please. We just change outfits.
I don't know why we put on new episodes so infrequently.
I know.
We have 365 already.
We're very behind. I hope Obama wins. But anyway. So
we're talking to you from 1969. Yeah.
This is our frequency. Yeah.
But even when they're so that's one of the things we saw because last week we were like, how would you pick a specific day? But if you think about it, like you might not even know the exact day of the World Series, but you might know like
Sound of My Voice.
I'm really into boxing, so I know that Canelo or like
you remember
Pacquiao,
famous games.
He won twice and then he got knocked out. So if they're like, "Oh, Pacquiao's fighting Marquez for his second time," I'd be like, "Oh, they're just gonna go the distance." They're like,
Yeah,
oh, he came for
it's
a
like
third
fun
time.
sports
Totally.
trivia.
Yeah, so that's like
Right.
a cool way to kind of like be like, oh, they figured it out, like a way to
Yeah.
make the dad realize. But the son realizes, and he's like, "Hey, Dad, you actually die tomorrow." It's like, wow, this
Yeah.
fucking
No
worst
offense.
timing.
Yeah,
Or
and
the
this is
best
one of
timing.
those
Yeah.
when they realize, like, because at first they're like, "What are you talking about, buddy?" And then they both slowly like kind of give enough information that they both realize it's true, that it's like the son in
Yeah.
the future and the
Well,
dad
the
in the
dad
past.
doesn't realize it until later.
No, but yeah,
until
right.
he
But
survives. Yeah.
as Jim Caviezel's realizing not only that it's his dad, but that he's going to die in a fire, the big Buxton fire the next day. He's like, "Dad, no, you got to go the other way." The music is like swelling so hard, and I'm like,
Right,
"Oh my
right.
god, I love this movie." It's
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
like,
dude.
it's
I was
like,
brought to tears almost so many times.
I know it's so touching and
Yeah.
like just
Yeah.
in your face with like it owns it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
very aware of it. Like, cause then, it cuts back to the next day, and they're like watching the baseball, but they're literally playing the like baseball song, like, "Oh, take me out to the ball." And it's like
Mhm.
that's how a fucking American this movie is.
Dude,
Like it's like,
yeah.
oh yeah, it's like almost like a Hallmark card, not like a
Dude,
Hallmark
this is
movie,
a Hallmark
but, like,
movie for boys for sure.
Yeah,
It's also it's kind of it's funny too because this movie and I think Andre Brayer is like a really good choice for this, or Andre Bauer, because
Yeah.
he is both kind of a rookie NYPD cop in the past and like an established detective in the future, and he looks pretty like they age him up a little bit, but not that much.
Yeah.
And if you've watched like the other show where he's an NYPD cop, I can't Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
He
Yeah.
doesn't even look that much older. Like he aged
Yeah,
exactly
he
like the movies.
Right.
he looks
Just-
pretty good. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, the makeup ended up being pretty accurate to how we ended up.
Right, like almost
Yeah.
indistinguishable because it's like, yeah, no, he just looks a little older. It works.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
especially like now that he's passed, it's always nice when he shows up in something.
I know he's such
Yeah,
he's the
he's
reason
great.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine really does work. Like if you
Yeah.
watch that show,
Yeah,
he really ties it together. But
right. But so then the next day, like they're at the baseball game, but then they hear about the fire, and so Dennis Quaid is there, and like then he's in the fire, and he remembers what his kid said, and he's like, "You had to go the other way," and he's like, and so he finally decides, like, okay, I'm gonna trust that kid, and he ends up making it out alive. And then we cut to 1999, where his son is like gaining all the memories of his dad.
yeah, he's
Right.
toasting.
His dad
It's the
hasn't
anniversary
died.
of his dad's death, and he's toasting his dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then suddenly he drops the shot glass because all the memories are coming in because it's like a
Right.
30-year
Mhm.
delay, but it's
Yeah.
like instant for him.
Right.
And I think they did it as well as you could to kind of suddenly show this like
Sure. I mean, the
crazy-
shot
Yeah,
glass
you
does
gotta
fall
do
for about
something.
5 minutes,
Right.
but it was cool.
right, but it's cool to see like suddenly now he remembers like, oh, I was a teen and like my dad was
Right.
there
Yeah,
and stuff. Where
and I
it's
think
like,
they handled that pretty well. Like
Yeah.
there's like one line where he says, "I can remember both. I remember both the real. I remember now, and I remember what I used to think in the past. Like, because it's
Yeah.
like you could go real factual and be like, does everyone now have
no,
multiple memories?
just him,
It
but it's
should
fine.
just
But it's
be
like
him,
it's
yeah.
like perfect.
It's
They do it
just-
so well where it's
just
like,
him 'cause
yes,
he
it's
did
just
it.
Jim. It's just
Although-
Jim.
Although it did make me think, I'm like, man, by the end of this movie, without getting into spoilers, he would have like 15 sets of memories and just be
I know.
losing his mind.
Well, see, and that's the thing. So then
remembers
the
so
next,
much.
oh, and we do have to add that at one point they burn the table, and then Jim Caviezel sees the burn like becoming a thing.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you just
Yeah, he
did
drops
that
his
thing?
cigarette.
You burn the cigarette, yeah.
And that's how they realize that he might be able to save his dad. So the next
Yeah.
day when they're talking again, it's also funny because the dad's smoking, and now in the future, the dad now died of cancer.
Right.
So he's like, "Hey, Dad, you really should quit because that's gonna kill you." And he's like,
Yeah.
"No, it's not." And he's like, "Yeah,
Trust me.
it is. Like it
I
literally."
think he says it gets the better of you. I
Yeah,
think is what he says,
That's-
which is a great line.
which is very funny because I kind of suspected, but I knew I found out later that it is true. But there's a TV show that became based on this movie that they made, and I watched the first episode. And I'll talk about it a little
Oh.
later. But I think it would be funny if in the TV show, like every episode, the dad died like a different way.
Oh, they're
Where it's
just
like,
constant.
oh no, Dad! This time you were
You killed
kidnapped
Dennis.
by the Zodiac killer.
It's like, don't go to the
Like
Amazon
special
on
guest star,
vacation.
you know?
Right, right.
You know what's that scene is funny too, because and this is what I think about. I watch way too much time travel stuff, even though 90% of it's bad. But as he's dropping the shot glass and like getting these new memories, he's like, "Hey guys, my dad died in a fire, right?" And I love the idea. As a time traveler, you're just like, "Hey, who's the president, by the way?" Like trying to be casual about it every time.
Yeah.
How cool is PBR right now?
Also, like, I feel like if you asked the question that basic people would be like, "No, what the hell?" You know, like they would never help you.
So basic but specific. They're like, "Do you have a like? Were you in a car crash?"
If I was like, "Hey guys, who's the president right now?" You'd be like, "Shut up." Like, you know who it is.
Yeah. Right, you're screwing with it. Right, but for him to be like, "Hey, my dad died in a fire, right?" And it's like, no, he died like 10 years ago of cancer. I'd just be like, why would you even kind of think that? Are you testing us?
Yeah, it's funny, like, would everyone know? It's like, actually, we haven't talked about it, sir. My third week on the job.
But no, okay, yeah. So he lives and he gets back to him, and then it cuts to them. Basically, they like talk up. He's like they're kind of reminiscing, talking about the future. He's like, "Oh man, eventually we're gonna have little phones in our pockets that work off satellites and stuff like that." And they're talking for like hours, basically after he like saved his life.
There's a lot of chemistry,
which I think is actually interesting. That every single change is because at first you're gonna be like, oh, why would stuff slowly change, like in Back to the Future, because it's like just like crazy. But in this one, it only ever changes after they talk on the radio, and it's like, like whatever their conversation did spurred something in him to change it, because that makes him like he's so happy now that he's like alive. He's like, oh, I'm going to go surprise my wife at work because I love my wife. And I love like being alive,
Also, you should not use Back to the Future for your time travel rules because it does not care about
Back to the Future does it at all. And I will get back to that in terms of what makes a good or bad time travel movie, and this is a good one. But no, he goes to visit his wife, and he's like, I'm so happy to have seen you. And then by chance, she catches the eye of a very mysterious figure.
What happens is there was a new doctor was giving him a patient a medicine, and it was going to kill him because if she had already given him something else. She's like, if you mix the medicine I just gave him with the new medicine, you'd kill him. And so she saves this guy's life and he notices it.
Yeah.
But the only reason she saw it is her husband came to visit her, and so she caught it. She like walked.
She was going to leave.
She wouldn't have been at the hospital. That's right, because her husband died the day before.
Would have died, and so she was going to leave her early. But since she was there, she caught it.
And also, she caught it, and she was there the rest of the time.
And who did she save? A serial killer.
The guy from the beginning of the film, the Nightingale Killer.
Because then John gets like a bunch of memories where he's like,
he has a dream.
Now he remembers his mom's funeral. Yeah.
And so he's like, oh no, and then he goes in, and then Andre's real good also at like, yeah, of course, Johnny, you know this already.
Right? He's like the Nightingale Killer. He killed 3 women, right? It's like, no, he killed like 10. And it's just
don't
like,
you recall? You love this case. This is your favorite case.
Well,
because
and then you find out that not only did he kill him, but he started with the mom.
He's
it wasn't the mom. He does it a little bit after.
He does a few more, but she's one of them.
But he does kill her.
The idea that you're a detective and you're like lieutenant's like, you can work on your mom's cold case is insane.
And then also, you're like,
you like this kind of thing?
You're letting your detective work on
his
mom's cold case. And also, you're mad that he doesn't have his life together. It's like, you're kind of part of the problem.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, so I bought you this bottle of Jack Daniels, and here's your mom's case. Like, I don't know, what do you want?
What I love, too, about this is as Jim Caviezel is putting all this together, he's, like, losing it. So he goes to, like, see his ex-girlfriend, who we saw leave him at the beginning of the movie. And he's like, oh, this is crazy, and I know we shouldn't talk, but I got to talk to you. She's like, who are you? And I like like she never even like met him. She's like, oh, aren't you like friends with Gordo? Like they met once, but it never went anywhere. It's like
right.
The idea that Jim Caviezel has only ever gotten laid because of his mom. Otherwise he just never hooks up with anyone.
Well, she did birth him.
I think the implication is that he's like a sad loser now, even more so.
Yeah.
Right, he's like a shut-in, basically.
Like the scene whenever like his dad in the past is like, so tell me about yourself. You're probably married. You're probably doing good. And he's like, oh well,
I'm trying.
No, but baseball rocks, right? Let's talk about baseball.
What's actually
Let's not talk about me.
Funny about this too is at the beginning he's kind of a sad sack loser, and then he saves his dad. So for one day, like everyone loves him at work, and like his job's going really well. And then his mom dies, and he comes in, and he's fully a loser.
Yeah, it's like you guys are really
like
bad
find a coop, dog. Yeah.
Yeah, he really struggled with. I mean, both your
so
parents
then,
dying when you're like 8 would be
right, pretty hardcore.
Yeah.
Hey, Dad, we accidentally killed a bunch of women, kind of, like tangentially. So let's try to go save them. Which I think is a pretty cool thing where they're trying to stop the killer because nobody knows who it is. And so he's investigating in the past. Like he goes and finds a girl, and they're telling him
because he's like, she's gonna die on this day,
right?
So you can go meet her where she's gonna die.
Oh, and it's like she was found in this alley behind this bar, and they know she came into that bar. Like, so they have all these. Like,
right. They know time and place, but they don't. Yeah. It's like you have just enough.
Who's it gonna be though?
But I also like this because the first woman, like he's like, oh, I wanted to keep an eye on her, but he ends up buying her a drink and like talking to her all night. And I almost wanted to.
No, she buys him a drink.
Oh, right, because he is charming Dennis Quaid before everything.
Right, but he's faithful. He's not weird.
He's not a creep.
He's cinema Dennis Quaid, a wholesome man. But yeah, so he saves the first one, and then they're like, oh man, that didn't really help us that much. So we got to try to rescue the second one.
Yeah, he's like, keep an eye on her, but don't like mess up the. So he's like watching her, and then he catches a guy watching her, basically.
Right. And so then he goes to the bathroom, and then he gets attacked by the guy because he's
like, "Are you following me?"
Yeah, the guy saw him twice, and so now he knows he's there.
Yeah,
right. He knows what's up.
That's a pretty big hole in that plan.
New York.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, like you should really thought this out, John. Who's got your dad killed again?
John. Come on. Yeah.
I also do like when he's trying to like save these women, and this is actually like a good. I almost feel like time period or time travel type movies will generally overdo it. Like if someone goes back to the 60s, everyone's like a hippie going like, yeah, man. Whereas in this one, he does go to a club and it's super like 1969 on the cusp of the 70s style, like ridiculous. But it's like, the clubs would be that. It's like
so it's, and there's like two hippies.
It's like flavor. Yeah, everyone else is mostly like dressed normally and stuff. And I'm like, that's a really nice touch. Like this movie's kind of like pretty smart about it,
And then when the Nightingale's beating shit out of him, he steals his wallet, or he steals his identification, which I guess back then was just paper, and he runs off into the night.
And he sees the picture of his wife in the wallet too.
Yes, and he knows the wife.
Yeah.
And he also has seen her dates before, which is like, okay, guys, we understand they're connected.
Yeah.
They're connected like
she's gonna get it. Times. She's gonna get it.
Yeah. And then he walks out, and then she bumps into her again, and they're like, "Woo!" No, I'm just kidding. And so then he kills someone else, but he puts Frank's ID underneath her body.
And so this is also another. This is a pretty clever when they figure out like, oh man, he killed again, but he had my wallet. He's like, oh, you know what you need to do?
Oh, yeah. That's smart.
Take your wallet and wrap it up, hide it somewhere. No one will find it for 30 years in the house.
Yeah.
Right.
And then he, like, basically instance later pulls it out and he has the perfect... I was like, man, this is, like, actual cool cold case, like, shit happening.
Right, yeah.
You know?
Time travel cold.
Let's say it's, like, such smart time travel compared to, like, Tenet. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Incomprehensible versus comprehensible.
Right.
Yeah.
And so then they like arrest him, and also they break while they're in the struggle. They break the radio, which is also like again, Dennis Quaid. You should have come on. you know that radio is pretty important, buddy.
Yeah, Andre Brayer.
I know,
because essentially the guy framed him.
Right.
Yeah.
But in the present, he's running the fingerprints and he's finding out the serial killer is what serial killers actually are almost always are in real life. Cops.
Right.
Cops.
Yeah.
He's a cop.
No GoPros.
That's
though.
how he got away with it.
Yeah.
Also, was serial killers cops? Are they?
Yeah, a bunch of cold cases when they're like, we solved
killer.
it. It's that, they got away with it for so long because it was a cop. Maybe they didn't like kill a bunch of people, but a bunch of unsolved murders are like, a cop just wanted to like kill a woman.
Right.
You know.
I thought it was like an undue force joke. Like
no, I mean cops are violent, and but let's not get into that.
the one
we've already been shadow banned once.
Yeah. But anyway, it's already 30 minutes. YouTube doesn't care. So then they like find out, or they arrest him, and he's trying to explain to him like, "Oh, my son," and then he tells Andre also like more because that day that they were like just talking about the World Series. He like says, "Oh, this is what's gonna happen today in the game," and he kind of like tells them exactly.
Yeah.
What's also
in the interrogation. Yeah.
What is funny about this too is there's no reason to tell Andre Brayer all the insane "I'm talking to my son from the future" stuff, because he could have just said, because right when they bring up the Nightingale killer at the beginning, he's like, "Yeah, we've been like worried about it because it's been happening in our area." It's like you could have just said to Andre Brayer like, "Hey, I'm worried about my family, so I was looking into it, and
my wife is a nurse."
Right.
Like there's such a
qualification.
a vibe, but it says like, "No, I got this for my son in the future." It's like, why would anyone believe you, man?
Dude, check it out.
That's not a good
like I love both of you so much, and I would not believe anything that you said to me if you started bringing time travel into the conversation.
What if I was like
that's crazy.
Oh no, ballerina,
unless you had proof from a Mets game.
Yeah.
Right. To
test scores,
to test your perfect. This is funny. Yeah, because they arrest him obviously. But the cop is like on to him. He like knows, because he's in the cop world. So he's like, they just arrested the Nightingale killer. I'm gonna go check this out. And he sees that it's him. So the cops, or the Nightingale, is hatching a plan to kill him while he's like being detained by the police, essentially.
Yeah.
Right.
And Andre Brayer has to like leave because he's like, I'm gonna go like talk to your wife to like try to figure out.
Yeah, she shows up to the station.
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna go try to figure out if you're crazy or not. And again, the movie is established he's an amazing fireman. The second he's left alone and realizes the Nightingale's after him, he hatches the craziest fireman skilled scheme to get out of the room, involving like electrocuting a puddle of coffee. It's so good.
Yeah,
it is.
It's wild.
He's definitely MacGyvering, and it's like, hey, maybe the wrong person's the cop in this scenario.
Absolutely.
Because all his son is doing is like going up to other people and being like, hey, can you check this?
Yeah, he's like, I don't know. When did my dad die? When did he die?
It is funny because this is actually like, there's a lot happening in the movie at this point in the past, but nothing happening in the present. And I almost wanted to just cut back to them, just like Jim Caviezel shrugging.
It's like Inception. It's like everything's happening, minutes. And then you cut back to a van falling in slow motion.
Right, you're just like, huh? Because he gets away, and then Andre Brayer catches part of the game and realizes that he's
but telling the truth.
But it's so funny because at first he's like, hey, I think your husband's insane and killed like a woman, and the wife is like, obviously freaking out. Dude. And then he turns back to her with a big smile on his face because of the game. And the wife's just staring.
Oh yeah.
And the idea that he's
like, what's in your coffee,
he's like,
dude?
Like she would just be like, he just told me my husband's going to go to jail for murder, but he's really excited about baseball.
I thought you were our friend.
I know. You're a real piece of shit.
Yeah. I know. I hate cops.
But no, it cuts it actually, it's like he goes to his house, basically he runs to his to this evil cop's house, Dennis Quaid, and like tricks him into revealing where he hides all of his like serial killer mementos.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then gets away again, and then gets to a pier for some reason, and the serial killer does another amazing move. Hides in the water, waits until Dennis Quaid is right above him, and bursts out like he's Jason. to like
also, like, it's so funny because this movie, the way this movie starts, and then like you're at this point and you're like, oh yeah, this is about time travel where like they're having like an underwater fight with a serial killer
who
avenge his wife who hasn't died yet. It's like, oh okay. It's just interesting how like much they use the premise to like,
it builds it, and I almost feel like one of the reasons this movie kind of like succeeds, because I know we're going to get into spoilers pretty soon because you kind of have to, but I think one of the reasons it's so good is having seen a lot of bad time travel movies, or just time travel movies in general. The really good ones use the time travel as part of like a fun plot, where it's like Back to the Future is the best time travel movie, let's be honest. And it's about how like Marty has to get his parents back together. Or Edge of Tomorrow, it's about like we have to stop these aliens. The bad time travel movies are just about the time travel, where like the twist in every one of these is always that someone you saw earlier is actually a guy from the future. Like in Tenet, they do it like 5 different times with Robert Pattinson and him, where it's like, you were fighting yourself. It's like, I know, because you just did this 10 minutes ago. And it's just twist upon twist upon twist. I actually saw one, I don't remember the name of it, but the twist is every single person in the movie is the same guy, because it's a guy who got a sex change and had sex with himself and got pregnant and gave birth to himself.
YouTube. This is gonna be great.
What movie is this?
It's based on a Robert Heinlein short story. It's really bad. But I'm saying like all the bad time travel movies, Time Crime says this too, where the whole point of it is just, oh, what's the next time travel twist? It's not about anything but what's the next time travel twist. This movie is about, like, the serial killer and the mom. It's like, no, there's a plot. The time travel makes the plot happen. The plot isn't just time travel exists. What's the twist? Do you see what I'm saying?
Time travel is in service of the story as opposed to the story being in service of time travel.
Yes, exactly.
Is it Predestination?
Oh, it is Predestination.
Oh, with Ethan Hawke?
She is a woman who later gets... who changes into a man... And somehow the sperm
and there's a bar.
And then future her travels back to sleep with young female her to give birth, but they give birth to themselves, who's also the serial killer they've been chasing the whole time. It's so stupid. It sucks.
That movie sounds like it rocks. What are you talking about?
It's also not...
I've seen that movie like 3 times, and I do not remember any of that.
That's so funny. You're like, wait, I thought he was getting the black phone.
You're right. I thought you were haunting kids.
I thought it was before or after sunset. He was just a really romantic guy.
Oh man.
But
anyway, we cut, because I'm saying like in Tenet, you would never have the serial killer bursting out of the pier.
Josh, you love time travel, dude. Oh my god.
I do. I love it, and there's so many bad movies about it. Yeah.
And then what happens in the film, Josh?
Where are we at now?
He fights off the killer in the water with a rusty pier nail, and he's like, he's dead. Woo!
And then the future starts having action of its own.
Yeah. Well,
he fixes the ham radio, and the ham radio fixes itself because.
Right. Oh yeah, that's the first magic you see.
Yeah. Well, the other, I mean, you saw the
cigarette burn. You saw I'm still here, Chief.
Yeah.
Well, this is whenever the magic starts getting crazier. There's one more crazier magic, which is the only part of this movie. Well, I loved the whole movie as a kid, but like the last part of magic was the part that really sold me. It's
so crazy, and
I love that
because he fixes the radio. Spoilers for the ending here, and he's like, "Hey, Jim Caviezel, we did it. We killed that terrible serial killer." He's like, Now that can't be right. I still have memories of my mom dying, like 7 sets of them, but
Yeah.
and they're all bad.
He's like, I still have memories of everything, and I'm living a nightmare every single day.
Yeah.
And Dennis Quaid's like, huh? And as he turns, the serial killer is attacking Dennis Quaid in the who lived. He got out from another pier and lived.
Yeah.
Attacking Dennis Quaid. And the old serial killer realized that Jim Caviezel's onto him because he taunted him earlier in the movie. They're fighting the same guy 30 years apart,
different eras.
in the same house.
Right.
Son and father in a dual serial killer
and then
brawl.
The best part of the movie is that then Dennis Quaid gets out a shotgun.
We gotta go.
And so Dennis Quaid has the shotgun in the past, and then in the future, Jim Caviezel is on the ground, and the serial killer has the pistol to his head.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
it's
and
intense.
then
it's intense.
He God, what does he do to his hand?
He shoots his
his hand literally explodes
with a shotgun from across the room.
Yeah,
shoots his hand off, and then in the present, his hand like melts.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in the past, he runs away.
Yeah.
And then in the present, though, he's still there, but he's there handless. And
it's not gonna hurt.
And this is insane because the movie's actually really smart about like kind of being like, oh, what would have really happened as 30 years passed? And in this one, you're like, wait, why is he still there? But he says he has one throwaway line just before he attacks him with one hand. He's like, this is going to make up for the 30 years I was in hiding. And it's like they give a reason. It's like this dude has evaded capture in 1969.
Like, now I'm going to take your life.
Lived in the sewer for 30 years, I guess.
As you do.
I love it, though. It's so good. And then just as he's about to get him,
Dennis Quaid like shoots him in the back. And he's like, I just quit smoking. Or I quit smoking 30 years ago.
Yeah, in the past it shows him throw away a cigarette, and it cuts to old Dennis Quaid go, I'm still here, Chief, as he shoots him.
Right.
Yeah.
And the whole house like morphs to being like really nice because
really
Dennis
cool.
Quaid like still lives there, and I guess has nicer furniture than his son.
Yeah, he's a better decorator than Jim Caviezel. He's
and
got better taste.
And now, and so then it cuts to the end, and he's now married to that girl.
Yeah,
and he has his own son, and she's also pregnant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're living the American dream now. They have what little Chief was supposed to have.
We forgot to say this, but at one point he tells his best friend Yahoo.
Oh, Yahoo.
The word Yahoo.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the future, he's now rich because he invested in Yahoo, which is funny because like then they cut to the other future, and now he's poor again. He stayed invested in Yahoo.
Yahoo.
And so, but which is also funny because a lot of time, I mean, most time travel movies are like, "Hey, we shouldn't mess up the future," but like this movie's like,
no, this one's just cool. Like just do it's cool
like,
stuff.
Whatever. They I would say they take their mistake, they admit to it, and they're like, we're gonna make a bunch more, and that's just what we're gonna live with. Like we're gonna do this thing, and then that's just what we're doing.
Right. There's and I do hate the like sanctity of the timeline idea of time travel too, where it's like time tries to correct itself because it's like, no, in Back to the Future they'll let you mess it up as much as you want. It's just like let's see what happens. It's fun.
Have you guys ever seen The Butterfly Effect? It takes a lot of time to try and get it right.
I actually haven't. Oddly, one of the few I have not seen.
You didn't see that in what?
I know.
I feel like The Butterfly Effect is not the everyone should have seen this type of movie.
I think I
but
saw.
I feel like everyone did though. Like in high school,
like
everyone was watching that movie.
I saw like the trailer with the fat racist from American History X, and he's like goth. I'm like, I don't know. This seems like it's gonna be stupid.
I mean, it is. But you had my god.
And then I had the ending spoiled, and I was like, oh, it is really stupid. Okay.
Yeah, it's a cool movie. Maybe we'll talk about it.
Wait, so you like it?
Yeah, I thought it was cool. I don't remember it, to be honest.
You were just wrecking on it. Oh my god.
Well, I'm just saying
that
like
kind of
there's a lot of movies that I watched and liked, but they don't have that cultural significance until we bring them back.
They just faded. Yeah.
Like Frequency and Butterfly Effect. You got to get those two in your library right now.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Maybe rent them.
Another one.
Out of here.
Another one you shouldn't sleep on because it is bad, but it's much better than you would think a Christian movie made by Christians for Christians would be.
Hey, Josh.
Uh-oh.
Are we talking about this movie, or are we talking about other movies?
Assassin 33 AD. Just watch it on Tubi.
Assassin what?
You've never heard of this? Assassin 33 AD. It's about atheists try to kill Jesus in the past, so Christianity never happens. They have to stop them. But it's
cool.
It's,
Josh, no, we're getting too Josh.
It's better than several Marvel movies.
It's
That's
like
all I'm
Josh,
saying.
Josh likes this movie, but he doesn't want to talk about it even like a little bit.
No, I would love for us to cover it, but I don't know if you want to go
I'm
there.
talking about Frequency, the movie.
If it's your pick, dog, you got pick of the week. You can do whatever you want.
But anyway,
not the eighth movie you've talked about today. It's not.
I know, but I would say it should be clear that if you watch our podcast, we will watch anything.
Yeah,
that's true.
Well, and that's the whole
pick away,
point.
Meryl.
Yeah.
But anyway, Frequency is amazing.
If you see the preview for Frequency, even if you hear the story where it's like, oh, a kid connects with his dad through a ham radio. Like, there's that movie with Keanu Reeves. Now I'm doing it. There's that movie with Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock where they share a mailbox. It's a very similar premise.
The Lake House.
But the whole movie's just about them sharing that thing and how they fall in love. But this movie, it's like, oh no, they're doing stuff. Like they're helping society as well, and so it makes
like
it's like a family drama action.
The serial killer really does that's like the perfect no, let's make this movie let's up the stakes. Because most of these are just feel good I learned to love life type things, and this is that, and then suddenly it's no, and now we have to catch this serial killer, and it's
this movie would be unpitchable. How would you go about your first pitch for this script and be like? And trust me, it works.
It would be like that Dana Carvey skit where he's trying to sing the songs and he's just making it up on the spot, and he's like, and then the mom died because she was killed by a serial killer.
Exactly.
Remember, he was in the past, and
then they have to go back and solve the case. First he has 3 case files, then he has 10 case files, then 9.
It sounds less like a movie and more like a TV show that did a hard shift between seasons. It ran out of ideas, or they're we're changing direction. But it all works. It's a really good movie, honestly.
And when I was rewatching it again, I was watching the first part and I was like, oh yeah, I remember all this first part, and then I was like, wait, it becomes like a cop thriller here in a minute, and I was like, dude, I bet this movie. I think I just liked this as a child. I don't think this is a good movie. And then it just transitioned so seamlessly into this cop drama, and I was like, no, this movie rocked. This movie, Josh and Andrew better love this movie. I'm gonna be so pissed.
I think that's the thing is that it doesn't feel like it comes out of nowhere because he's a cop anyway in the future,
Right.
And also serial killers do target people. To have him target nurses isn't crazy. For his mom to be a nurse again isn't crazy. So it doesn't feel when they're setting it up. It doesn't feel like they're setting it up to get us to a serial killer movie. It just feels like a natural progression.
It's actually funny.
100% agree.
They almost give him better and more thorough motivations than they do in I See You, the movie we covered 2 weeks ago. It's literally about a serial killer, and they just kind of forget to do anything but have him be like, I'm crazy, I'm gonna kill people. And this one's no, here's why he kills women, here's his weird childhood stuff. It's this movie does a better job than the actual serial killer thriller. It's interesting.
It's a cool movie. So now, yes, I do want to talk about. So then they turned this into a show.
I do remember that a little bit.
Tubi actually tried to autoplay the show. They're both on Tubi.
Yeah, they're both
the
on
best
Tubi,
streaming service.
I saw the first episode, and it's kind of it's funny. The things they keep the same. The call letters are exactly the same, and it's I don't think I remember the call letters, but good for you guys. But now they're both cops, and then the dad cop died. Also, it's 1999, which is oh no, time's changing. But now the dad died because he was undercover, and she thinks he was dirty, and so he's like, "Oh, he's not dirty."
Wait. So the past is 99, and the present is 2020 or something.
Yeah, 2019 or something like that.
Oh, whatever. Yeah, okay.
Oh, it's a new show.
I guess so.
Well,
Never
Well,
mind.
and I think it's like they did that because they didn't
Maybe I
want
don't
to
remember
like
this.
have to do 60s clothes all the time.
Yeah,
And so they're
yeah.
like, yeah, we'll do this. But I don't know. It was okay. It's the daughter now, and she's a cop.
looks like I
And
checked it
so
out. It ran for one season from in 2016.
see,
So
I feel like this
Oh
movie.
no, I don't remember that at all. I
It's
just invented that memory.
it's one of those movies where you could see a TV executive being like, "Oh, that would work as a show," but you can also see it not working as a show like at all. You know, like
yeah,
what
Yeah.
is like it's gonna get silly very quickly after it's like 2 years of like,
and
oh hey, here's
also
some
Stuff.
uh,
Yeah.
it takes place in New York,
Absolutely.
and one of the things this movie dodges by existing in the year 2000 is that 9/11 hadn't happened yet.
Yeah, but
Oh,
but
So
shit
the
went down.
entire show would have to be about that. And it's
Yeah.
obviously, I assume they ignore that,
that's what the show should
Yeah.
have been about. Like, Dad,
It's
you
even
gotta
an
go to
NYPD
Florida.
detective who probably knew people who died in 9/11.
Yeah.
I know.
Like,
I
there's
know
just
an NYPD fireman and police officer. It's like, oh, they both actually died 2 years later.
Yeah.
I know. There's
And
just
The
that's
same
the
day,
thing.
weirdly. It was the same day.
Honestly, if this movie had been released 2 years later, it's like there's no getting around that because
Yeah.
a lot of firemen died that day. You'd have to cover it, which is like kind of good. This movie
Right.
came out
right, which is why that's what I'm saying. It was such a perfect time for this movie to come out that
Yeah.
that's why the show just couldn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Sorry,
yeah,
show.
no, it's a good movie. I would definitely recommend it. Check it
Yeah.
out. So we're gonna do
Yeah.
some fun movies for the next couple of weeks because after that we have a very special theme coming up. But we have to prepare because it's a little bit darker than normal. So join us
Okay.
on the Bomb Squad. Also, we might have a deep dive. We're writing it now, but who knows? But yeah, check us out. We'll be here. I'll be in the editing lab. So we'll see you guys next week on the Bomb Squad. Yeah. What if I'm like, I'm watching this from the future.
No, ham radio me,
This
baby.
episode doesn't get that many views.